In this CCTV clip, the camera is fixed on a small room filled with dolls lined up across a desk, all facing in the same direction. Everything seems still at first. A man walks through the room, passing calmly from one doorway to the other before leaving the frame entirely. The space is empty again, silent, with nothing visibly out of place. A few seconds later, one of the strings suspending a doll from above begins to sway ever so slightly, as if someone brushed past it, even though no one is there. The movement grows more noticeable, the doll gently dangling back and forth on its own. Then, without warning, a doll on the desk suddenly launches forward and crashes onto the floor. There's no slow slide, no gradual fall. It's abrupt and forceful, like it was pushed. Almost immediately after, the remaining dolls begin to shake more aggressively, their movements overlapping and escalating, as if whatever caused the first one wasn't finished. The man never re-enters the room, and no one else appears on camera. The footage cuts with the dolls still trembling, turning what looked like an ordinary room into something deeply unsettling. In this next piece of footage, a man working late at his office is caught on CCTV doing something painfully relatable, sleeping at his desk. The building is otherwise empty, and the cameras record the room in silence for several minutes. Then, out of nowhere, loud banging noises echo through the office, sounding as if they're coming from upstairs. The man doesn't stir at all. A phone rings once, then a second time. Still nothing. After a brief pause, the phone rings twice more, and this time, it finally jolts him awake. This is what happens. Groggy and confused, he sits up and quickly starts clicking around on his computer, almost like he's trying to look busy before answering the call. When he finally picks up the phone, there's no one on the other end. He hesitates for a moment, then hangs up and goes back to his desk, refocusing on his screen. That's when things escalate. Besides him, a chair across the room suddenly begins to spin on its own, slowly at first, then faster, completing several full turns. The movement finally catches his attention, and he turns around in fear. Moments later, a bottle slid off a nearby desk and hit the floor. Almost immediately after that, another chair tips over completely. At that point, he doesn't stick around to investigate. He bolts out of the room, clearly shaken. According to a follow-up, he reported the incident to his manager the next day and has since taken time off work for his mental health. Whatever happened in that office didn't just scare him in the moment, it was enough to make him step away entirely. It's a static shot of an empty room, quiet and still, with nothing visibly out of place. The only human presence comes from the narrator behind the camera, calmly explaining what's been happening in the facility over the past few days, and why he decided to leave the camera running. His voice sounds steady, almost like he's trying to convince himself nothing will happen.
And you see there's nobody there. The door's closed. I went too far, Joe.
You think so?
Yeah. This thing was flying. Oh, shit. That's fucking spooky.
Just as he finishes his sentence, something slides into frame. A metal trolley slowly moves across the floor on its own, gliding several feet as if someone had just pushed it. There's no one nearby, no shadows, no sudden noises to explain the movement. The trolley doesn't tip or wobble either. It moves smoothly, then comes to a stop like it reached a destination. The narrator immediately goes silent, clearly realizing that whatever he was talking about wasn't done yet. In a room that was empty seconds earlier, something had just made itself very real. They already suspected this workplace had a reputation, the kind of place where stories get laughed off until someone finally catches proof. Late one night, with the building completely empty, a camera was left recording to see if anything unusual would happen. At first, the footage shows nothing but a quiet hallway, lights humming softly, and doors standing still. Then, slowly, a dark human-shaped figure appears at the far end of the frame. It doesn't rush or flicker, it just moves calmly, entering and exiting a room slowly. There's no one else scheduled to be there, no shadows that could explain it, and no reflections that line up with the movement. Security logs later confirmed nobody entered or exited the building during that time. After this footage surfaced, the joke stopped entirely. Employees who had brushed off the stories admitted they had experienced things too, just never had proof until now. Whatever was walking those halls clearly didn't care who believed in it anymore. In this next clip, two young kids are sitting on the floor playing with their toys, while their mother and another child casually supervises from nearby, filming without much thought as the room feels calm and ordinary. Nothing seems out of place at first, just normal background noise and kids being kids.
Oh my gosh! Guys, this way, this way.
After a few seconds, the mother suddenly notices something unsettling in the background. A small holy cross hanging on the wall has slowly turned upside down, even though no one was near it and nothing touched it. She pauses, clearly confused, trying to process how that could have happened. Before she can react further, something far worse happens. The doll's crib sitting with the kids suddenly slides across the floor on its own, moving several inches, as if it was pushed by an invisible force. The sound snaps her into panic mode. She immediately rushes toward the kids, scooping them up and pulling them away from the center of the room. Her voice shakes as she tells them to move, no longer trying to stay calm. The clip ends as she gathers them together and rushes out, leaving the toys, the flipped cross, and the moved crib behind. Whatever caused it didn't care that children were in the room, and that's what makes this one especially disturbing. The following piece of security footage dates back to 2012 and comes from a building using a live CCTV system that automatically cycled through every room at around 3 in the morning. Watching it back feels unsettlingly similar to a Five Nights at Freddy's camera feed, quietly switching from empty room to empty room with nothing happening, until something does. Right as the clock hits 3, the audio picks up the clear sound of a door opening somewhere in the building, followed by it closing again a few moments later. The problem is, none of the cameras ever show anyone entering or leaving. The feed keeps switching rooms, offices, hallways, storage areas, all completely empty, until one corridor appears on screen and a dark shadow suddenly glides across it, smooth and fast, disappearing out of frame before the camera switches again. There's no person, no footsteps, no explanation that lines up with the footage. When management reviewed the tape and confirmed no one had access to the building at that time, they took it seriously enough to bring in someone to bless the offices shortly after. Whatever moved through those halls at 3 in the morning was never seen again, at least not on camera. A mother shared something that genuinely unsettled a lot of people after she reviewed her footage more closely. She had been lying in bed with her 2 children, all of them asleep, when the camera recorded something she didn't notice at the time. It was only after watching it back in reverse that the moment became clear. As the footage plays, one of the children suddenly jerks backward, their body sliding sharply toward the edge of the bed, as if something had grabbed them by the legs and pulled. For a split second, it looks like the child is almost dragged off entirely before they instinctively scramble back into place, still half asleep. The mother remains unaware in the moment, not reacting at all, which makes it even more disturbing. There's nothing visible in the frame that could have caused it. No rolling, no kicking, no sudden movement from anyone else. After realizing what happened, she shared the clip online, saying it was one of the scariest things she's ever seen involving her kids, and she hasn't slept comfortably since. Unlike the clips so far, this one comes from a Ring doorbell camera outside a quiet residential home, and what it captures has people completely divided. It's late, the street is empty, and everything looks normal at first. Suddenly, a dark shadow figure darts across the road at full speed, stretching unnaturally along the pavement before vanishing out of frame. The movement is fast and fluid, but the shape doesn't match any person, car, or animal that would normally pass by. There's nothing nearby that could realistically cast a shadow like that, and no physical figure can be seen creating it. When the homeowner reviewed the footage, even they admitted they had no solid explanation for what ran past their house that night. They later shared the clip online, saying they don't personally think it's a ghost, but that's for you guys to decide in the comments. In a regular lunch break at work, 4 co-workers were sitting around an office, talking casually and killing time, when one of them suddenly became visibly uneasy. She kept glancing toward a desk behind them, her body tensing as she insisted she had just seen something move. The others immediately brushed it off, laughing it away, and even joking that she was imagining things. As the camera rolls, you can see the moment she points toward the desk, her voice probably shaky as she tries to explain what she saw. Everyone turns around, but nothing looks out of place, and the conversation quickly shifts back to teasing her about it. What makes this unsettling is what they discovered later. After the incident, they checked the office security footage from that exact time. In the replay, an object on the desk clearly slides slightly on its own, moving in the exact direction she had been staring at. No one was near it, and no vibrations or airflow could explain it. The woman wasn't crazy after all, and the office hasn't felt the same since. This was definitely the last break they spent in this room. This is one of those videos that's unsettling purely because of how ordinary the setting is. John works from home and had left a camera running in his office overnight after feeling uneasy for a few days straight. The timestamp reads just after 4 in the morning, a time when nobody else should have been awake or moving around in the house. The footage shows his computer setup sitting idle, monitors dark, the room completely still. Then, out of nowhere, a shadow begins to form near the edge of the desk. It doesn't rush or flicker like a lighting change. It slowly climbs upward, stretching across the desk surface and rising toward the computer, almost like something pulling itself into view. The shadow drifts around the monitors for several seconds, hovering and shifting shape before fading back into nothing. There's no car headlights, no passing movement outside, and no explanation for how a shadow could move independently like that. After reviewing the footage, John said this was the final straw. Whatever had been watching him work late nights clearly didn't stop when he went to sleep. He's since packed his things and is in the process of moving out, convinced that whatever appeared on that desk wasn't just a trick of the light, but something sharing the house with him. For the past hour, Christian says he'd been hearing strange knocking sounds coming from his kitchen, soft at first, but frequent enough that he finally grabbed his phone to record. He walks in slowly, clearly tense, trying to catch whatever has been making the noise.
Hey guys, I've been hearing this really weird knocking coming from my kitchen for like the last hour. What the hell? No way. The hell?
As soon as the camera points toward the cabinets, one of the doors can be seen slowly opening on its own, just a few inches, before gently closing again. Christian freezes, speaking in disbelief as it keeps happening, almost like something testing whether it's being watched. The second he steps closer, the movement stops completely. He reaches out, pulls the cabinet open fully, and shows the inside is empty. No pets, no loose hinges, nothing that could explain it. The knocking doesn't return, but the silence that follows feels even worse. Christian later said this was the moment he realized the sounds weren't random at all, and whatever was in his kitchen only moved when it thought it was alone. Andos was home alone late at night, sitting at his computer when he heard a strange noise coming from somewhere outside his room. At first, it sounded almost like a voice, muffled and distant, the kind of noise you can convince yourself is just a neighbor or something outside. Still, it unsettled him enough that he grabbed his phone and started recording. He steps outside for a moment, scanning the area, then comes back in and slowly walks through the house, checking room after room to prove nothing's there. Everything seems normal, quiet again, almost embarrassingly so. But when he finally enters his parents' bedroom, that calm evaporates. As soon as he steps inside, the wardrobe door ahead of him begins to open on its own, slowly creaking outward, as if someone inside was pushing it. Andos freezes, then backs away, clearly panicking as the door opens with no one near it. He insists nobody else was in the house, and there was no draft strong enough to cause it. After that night, he said he stopped staying in that room altogether, convinced whatever made that noise earlier was waiting for him to come back. In this next clip from the YouTube channel Fourth Wall, which currently has over 268,000 subscribers and focuses entirely on paranormal investigations, the person behind the camera captures a moment that viewers still argue about. He's slowly filming a miniature 3D model on a table that resembles traditional Asian architecture, carefully panning the camera, but he feels heavy and uncomfortable. As he steps closer to the model, something unsettling happens off to his left. A small Buddha statue suddenly tips over and falls straight to the ground without being touched. The sound cuts through the room, instantly changing the mood. He freezes, then turns the camera to show there's nothing near it that could have caused the fall. No vibration, no movement, no one else present. What makes this moment even more disturbing to viewers is the symbolism. Many believe that if a presence is strong enough to knock over a religious figure, especially one associated with peace and protection, it could suggest whatever is there doesn't belong or doesn't want it to be acknowledged. After the clip, the creator admitted the atmosphere in the room felt colder and heavier, and he ended the investigation shortly after. Whether coincidence or something darker, this moment is one of the reasons Fourth Wall continues to trend in the paranormal community. Subscribe as this story will be continuing. In the following video, the man recording keeps the camera steady, zooming slightly as the movement behind the curtain becomes harder to ignore. The shadow paces back and forth with a clear, human-like shape, its head and shoulders briefly outlined as it passes the thin fabric again and again.
Hey, ¿qué pedo? Mamen, si ven eso. ¡Qué verga! Y, o sea, lo cagado es que estoy en un segundo piso.
After a few seconds, he musters the courage to pull the curtain aside, half expecting someone to be standing there, but the space is completely empty. To make things even stranger, he leans out and angles the camera through the window, showing the outside clearly. There's nobody below, no one walking past, no possible reflection. The most bizarre part is that he was on the second floor, meaning whatever cast that shadow couldn't have been outside in the first place. The curtain hangs still now, as if nothing ever moved behind it. The clip ends with him standing there in silence, trying to process how something could walk back and forth behind a curtain without ever actually being there. A woman was out walking her Labrador along a quiet trail, filming casually as the dog kept pulling hard toward the woods, unusually fixated on something off the path. She laughs it off at first, assuming the dog just caught a scent, but the way it keeps resisting and staring makes her turn the camera in that direction.
Come on, Bruce. What's up? Come on. Come on. Oi. Come on. Bruce. Come on.
As she pans toward the trees, a faint, human-shaped figure can be seen standing just inside the tree line, partially obscured by shadow and distance. It's easy to miss in real time, and she doesn't react at all, continuing the walk. A few moments later, as the dog pulls again and she films the same area, the figure appears once more, this time slipping behind the nearest tree as if it's actively trying not to be seen. The movement is slow and deliberate, not like an animal. She walks on completely unaware, but she later pointed out the figure frame by frame when editing the video. Paired with the dog's sudden, intense behavior, many believe whatever was watching her knew exactly what it was doing and chose to stay hidden. In the upcoming clip, Manuel is exploring an abandoned school late at night, a place he's convinced is haunted after hearing about unexplained activity there for years. The building is silent except for his footsteps echoing through the empty halls as he films, slowly making his way toward the area where most of the reports seem to come from. The further he goes, the heavier the atmosphere feels, like the air itself is tense.
Para que vean que no es inventado, o sea, no tengo ningún otro dispositivo. La bocina la tengo aquí, o sea, no hay otro medio, estoy grabando con mi teléfono, un único teléfono. Y nuevamente escuché ruidos. Maldita sea. Nuevamente escuché ruidos, esta vez ya no es un niño. No mames. ¡Ey! ¿Quién está ahí? No seas mamón. Ay, no seas mamón. Estoy completamente solo y...
As he approaches a hallway near the bathrooms, a strange, high-pitched sound begins to ring out, faint at first, but sharp enough to make him stop in his tracks. He follows it, the noise guiding him straight to a bathroom on the left. As he gets closer, the sound shifts into something worse, a quiet, drawn-out wail that sends chills through him. Manuel steps inside, whispering "hey" into the darkness as the wail suddenly grows much louder, echoing off the tiled walls. He starts checking each stall one by one, showing they're all empty, but the moment he finishes, the sound abruptly stops. A second later, the wailing resumes again, this time coming from deeper inside the school, far beyond the bathroom he's standing in. Manuel freezes, realizing whatever made that sound wasn't trapped in one room at all, and it was moving. Part 2 picks up immediately where the last clip left off, and this time there's no mistaking how intense things have become. The noise is now incredibly loud, echoing from deep within the building, no longer distant or faint. It sounds unmistakably like a woman in pain, a long, strained wailing that fills the halls and makes the walls vibrate.
Güey, ¿qué pedo? No mames. No mames, y justamente en el baño de... ¿Quién está ahí? No, no mames. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Qué pedo? No mames, qué pe... Esto ya no es normal, neta, ya no es normal. Ay, no mames, se sintió algo bien cabrón esta parte de aquí. No mames, clarito se está escuchando. Salga. Es que no. Güey, ¿qué pedo? O sea, ella está aquí. Sacó. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí? No mames, qué putas me metí, cabrón. Hola. Hola. Ay, no mames, no, ya no hay. No hay nadie. Ya no se escuchó nada. Rayos.
As Manuel stands frozen, the bathroom stall doors in front of him begin to open one by one on their own. It's very quick, as if something unseen is pushing them from the inside. That's enough to force him to retreat backward into the hallway, breathing heavy as the sound drags on longer than ever before. Just when it finally cuts out, he cautiously steps forward again, but the second he reaches the bathroom entrance, the scream erupts once more, even louder. He later claims all of this was happening around 3 in the morning. Unsure what to do, Manuel stays where he is as the cries continue, bouncing around the building and making it impossible to pinpoint the source. He decides to check the men's bathroom to the right, but as he films inside, it becomes clear the noise isn't coming from there at all. Suddenly, it shifts again, pulling him back toward the women's bathroom, where it now sounds less like screaming and more like someone violently gagging or vomiting behind the walls. Moments later, the agonizing screams return at full volume. Manuel calls out "Hola" several times, his voice shaky, but there's no response. Then, for the longest stretch so far, everything goes completely silent. Taking that as his chance, he slowly backs away, never turning his back, before finally leaving the building altogether. Whatever was inside didn't follow him out, but the sounds he captured were more than enough to convince him never to return. Thomas had already been dealing with strange noises in the house for weeks, but this was the first time he decided to actually record anything. Late one night, convinced the sounds were coming from above him, he grabbed his phone, climbed up to the attic entrance. The footage shows him pulling the attic door open and shining his light into the darkness, calling out hello several times, half joking and half genuinely nervous. The attic is completely unlit, stretching out farther than expected, filled with old boxes and shadows that seem to swallow the beam of his torch. Take a look.
Thought I heard something. Whoa, what is... Hello? Hello? Oh God!
A few steps in, the camera suddenly jolts as Thomas freezes. At the far end of the attic, barely visible, a dark humanoid shape stands motionless, darker than the shadows around it. It doesn't move, but the longer he looks, the clearer it becomes that it isn't just an object. Panic sets in instantly. Thomas spins around and bolts back toward the stairs, breathing hard as the footage turns chaotic. The camera cuts out shortly after, once he reaches the hallway below and has to stop to catch his breath. After the incident, Thomas explained how difficult it was convincing his parents that what he saw was real. They initially brushed it off as nerves or imagination, but after hearing the recording and noticing that the attic noises didn't stop, they finally took it seriously. The family ended up barricading the attic door completely, stacking furniture beneath it and sealing it shut. Thomas says the sounds have quieted since then, but he refuses to go anywhere near that part of the house again. Whatever he saw up there was enough to change everyone's mind. In the following video, a woman is casually filming herself in the mirror, checking her appearance with her phone light on, like it's any other normal moment. Nothing seems out of place at first, until a loud banging noise suddenly echoes from somewhere else in the house. Her expression changes instantly. turns the camera and slowly walks toward the sound, her footsteps cautious. The noise leads her up the stairs, and by the time she reaches the top, her breathing is noticeably heavier, a mix of nerves and adrenaline. She pauses in front of the attic door for a moment before finally pulling it open. The attic is completely empty. No movement, no animals, no loose objects that could explain the sound. She scans the space with the camera, clearly confused and shaken, before backing away. Whatever caused the banging had completely vanished, leaving her alone with the unsettling realization that the noise came from somewhere she couldn't explain at all. Sam is a member of staff at the Jefferson Hotel, a place that's already gained a reputation for a surge of unexplained activity over the past few months, and this clip only adds to it. He shared this CCTV footage after another strange incident left him completely shaken. Take a look.
Here's the shirt pulling episode. Right now we're talking about the footage, and look at my shirt right there in the middle, and watch what happens. Right there. So we both react, and you can see right here, I'll do it in slow motion and show you. Right there, hold on. Right there. The shirt just gets pulled a little bit. And then, here's our reactions. I gotta turn it down because there's some cussing going on, because we were in such disbelief. But you'll be able to see, I'm like trying to describe to her the feeling I got. It was such a weird feeling. And again, I can't say it's anything paranormal. In my opinion, I think it was, just because of the events that happened and the feeling everybody got, and of course that movement was really...
The camera shows the hotel kitchen looking quiet and empty, except for Sam and his wife standing side by side in the middle, casually talking while the rest of the room stays completely still. For a moment, nothing seems out of place. Then, without any warning, the fabric on Sam's shirt suddenly shifts and tugs outward, as if something invisible had grabbed it. The movement is quick but unmistakable, pulling hard enough to catch both of their attention instantly. Sam freezes and looks down in disbelief, while his wife looks equally shocked, clearly confused, and trying to process what she just saw. There's no breeze, no one else in the kitchen, and nothing nearby that could have caused it. They both scan the room, visibly unsettled, realizing whatever touched him wasn't visible on camera. Given the Jefferson Hotel's growing list of similar incidents, this footage only fuels speculation that something unseen is still actively moving through the building. And according to Sam, this was far from the last strange thing to happen there. Really early into the morning, CCTV footage captured inside what appears to be a salon or training space shows something unsettling happening in the early hours of the morning. It's around 4 a.m., long after anyone should be inside the building, and the room is completely still. However, the camera in the room suddenly detects motion, and what it shows is terrifying. Without warning, the fire exit door slowly opens on its own, revealing nothing but darkness behind it. No one enters, no movement can be seen, yet the door remains open for a moment before calmly closing itself again, inch by inch, as if someone unseen was pulling it shut. Just when things seem to settle, one of the mannequin heads lined neatly on the shelves suddenly tips over and falls. Seconds later, several items on the counter beneath are knocked to the floor in quick succession, as if something had swept across the surface. There's no explanation for the chain reaction, and no one is visible anywhere in the footage. Whoever or whatever opened that door clearly didn't leave quietly and wanted to be noticed by the owners. Who knows what action this will cause them to take? A father is always going to respond when their baby cries, especially in the middle of the night when the house is meant to be silent. That's exactly what Matt did when loud, panicked crying suddenly echoed through the hallway, sounding exactly like it was coming from his son's room. Without thinking twice, he rushed out of his bedroom, not knowing the living room camera was already recording what happened next.
Good.
As Matt runs down the hall, something disturbing appears in the corner of the footage. A small, nearly transparent figure, shaped like a young boy, darts around the corner and vanishes out of sight. Matt follows it instinctively, clearly focused on getting to his child, but when he reaches the spot where it disappeared, there's nothing there. No movement, no sound, just an empty hallway. Moments later, his wife confirms on camera that their baby is fast asleep, not crying at all. That's when the reality sinks in. The sound that pulled Matt out of bed didn't come from his son, and whatever ran through the house wasn't supposed to be there. The footage ends shortly after, but Matt later said he hasn't been able to explain the crying or the figure since, and the camera catching it only made the experience harder to ignore. Mr. Fender was filming a regular TikTok, nothing paranormal intended, just showing his followers how powerful his new lights were. He headed out into the woods at night to demonstrate the brightness properly, completely unaware of what was about to be revealed.
The lights are definitely functional, but unfortunately I live in a city and there are street lights everywhere. But I can find a place to go test them. Okay, I found some really dark woods. I just put some tinfoil over the reverse lights. So I'm going to show you what the stock reverse lights look like, and then I'm going to uncover them and show you what the added reverse lights look like. These are the stock reverse lights.
Literally can't see anything.
And these are the ones I just installed. Look how friggin' bright that is. This is amazing. Yeah, so these are not just for looks.
As he switches the light on, the beam floods the trees ahead, lighting up the area far more than expected. For a split second, something horrifying is visible. Wrapped tightly around the trunk of a tree just ahead is what looks unmistakably like a human arm, pale and thin, clinging to the bark. Almost immediately, as the light fully hits it, the arm pulls back behind the tree and disappears from view. Mr. Fender keeps talking, completely oblivious, continuing his demonstration like nothing happened. But viewers noticed it instantly. The comments flooded in, people replaying the clip frame by frame, all pointing out the same thing he never saw. There was no one else with him, no prank, no explanation for how an arm could be there and vanish that fast. The woods were silent, and Mr. Fender never reacted, making the moment even more disturbing. Whatever was hiding behind that tree clearly did not want to be seen, and the only reason anyone knows it was there at all is because the light was just a little too effective. He was out in nature filming quietly by himself, standing beside a wide river with a slow, almost glassy current. What immediately stood out was how silent everything felt. No birds, no insects, nothing you'd normally expect to hear in a place like this. That kind of silence is what made him start recording in the first place. He slowly turns the camera toward the opposite side of the river, focusing on a hill covered in dense trees and thick shrubbery, just scanning the landscape and explaining that something felt off.
Hay gente que hay. Mira, les voy a mostrar algo. Vine a pescar a un lugar muy escondido, pero ya me empezó a dar miedo porque mira cómo está. Y tengo rato que siento que algo me está siguiendo y se escuchan las ramas tronar. Y creo que encontré, si no es el hijo de Pie Grande, es el hijo de King Kong. Tiene rato mirándome, mira. Mira. Por favor, no van a decir que no lo ven. No mames, ya me voy a la verga. Ánimo.
As he zooms in, a strange figure becomes visible within the trees. It's hard to make out and stays idle. The shape doesn't look like a regular animal, and it's far too large to be a person given how remote the area is. The camera shakes slightly as he tries to keep it in frame, clearly realizing he's caught something unusual. After the clip, the man said he left the area immediately, shaken by how quiet it had been and how closely the figure resembled a Sasquatch. Many who've seen the footage believe it could be Sasquatch, especially given the size, posture, and the unnatural stillness of the forest right before it appeared. The following clip comes from a Ring doorbell camera recording late one night at around 10 p.m. when everything seemed completely normal at first. The camera was doing its usual job, pointed toward the porch, with the quiet road stretching out ahead under dim streetlights. Nothing looked out of place, and there was no movement for a while. That didn't last though. As the footage continues, something slowly comes into view at the edge of the frame. A strange, ghost-like figure appears near the road, pale and semi-transparent, moving in an unnatural way that doesn't resemble a person walking by. Almost at the same time, a bright orb drifts across the camera's view, floating smoothly past the lens before disappearing. The figure continues forward, crossing part of the driveway as if it hasn't noticed the camera at all. It doesn't turn its head, doesn't react, just keeps moving until it eventually fades out of view down the road. There were no neighbors outside, no cars passing, and nothing else on the camera that could explain what was captured. The homeowners later checked outside immediately after the alert and found absolutely nothing there. Whatever walked past that Ring camera that night didn't leave footprints, shadows, or any explanation behind, making this one of the creepiest doorbell clips currently circulating. For anyone new here, Ian is a well-known ghost hunter who spent years documenting some of the most unsettling abandoned locations across the Midwest. And this next clip is a direct continuation of his exploration inside the same notoriously haunted factory. By this point, the activity had already escalated, but what happens next is one of the strangest moments he's ever caught.
Dude, how do you explain that? This thing does not look easy to move. Not at all. Yeah, dude, this thing, there's no way. There's no way. Oh, dude. What the f? Wait a minute. Are you taking that thing? Oh my God. All right, that's it. I'm done. Oh my gosh. That thing is freaking moving all over the damn place. Dude, that was so insane.
The old cart rattles back to life once again. Could this be the ghost of the tannery worker taunting me to leave his area?
All right, I'm gonna let you get back to work, okay? Holy shit.
Ian is filming deep inside the factory, slowly scanning the room, thinking about how heavy and oppressive the atmosphere feels, when his camera lands on a large metal cart, sitting completely still on the concrete floor. There's no wind, no slope, nothing around it. As he continues talking, the cart suddenly shifts, then begins sliding across the floor on its own, as if someone invisible had grabbed it and pulled. Ian immediately reacts, backing up while keeping the camera locked on it, showing there's no one nearby and nothing attached to it. The movement is smooth and deliberate, not a sudden jolt or vibration, which makes it even harder to explain away. Moments like this are why Ian believes this factory is one of the most active locations he's ever investigated, and judging by what follows later in the video, whatever was moving that cart wasn't done interacting with him yet. When Jensen and Fiona were chilling on the sofa late one evening, the atmosphere was completely relaxed, the kind of quiet night where nothing out of the ordinary should happen. Fiona had her phone out, casually recording as they talked, not expecting to catch anything unusual at all. The living room was still, the lights low, and the piano sitting closed against the wall, like it always was. Suddenly, though, everything changed. Out of nowhere, a single piano key presses down by itself, followed by another, then another. The melody isn't structured or familiar, just random keys being struck as if unseen fingers were testing the instrument. Fiona freezes, the camera shaking slightly as Jensen slowly sits upright, staring directly at the piano. There's no one near it, no pets in the room, and the lid is clearly shut. The keys continue to play for several seconds, echoing through the room in an uneven, unsettling rhythm before abruptly stopping as suddenly as they started. Silence fills the space again, thick and uncomfortable. Fiona keeps filming to show there's nothing and no one that could explain it. Both of them remain seated on the sofa, stunned and unsure of what they just witnessed. After the clip, they admitted neither of them touched the piano, and it hasn't done anything like that before or since. Whatever decided to play that night left them with no explanation and a living room that no longer feels quite as safe. In this clip, from a YouTube channel called Ziggatube, someone is walking through their house late at night with nothing but a flashlight, filming because they've been hearing unexplained noises for a while. The house is completely quiet as they move from room to room, clearly on edge, but trying to laugh it off. As they pan the camera into one of the rooms, they freeze. Sitting in the middle is an old wooden rocking chair, slowly rocking back and forth on its own. No one is sitting in it, and there's nothing nearby that could be causing the movement. The man behind the camera nervously calls out, "Grandpa," half joking but clearly unsettled, as if trying to rationalize what he's seeing. That's when things take a sharp turn. The rocking chair suddenly jerks and turns sharply in their direction, far faster than any natural swing. He panics instantly, sprinting out of the room as the footage becomes shaky and chaotic. The clip cuts shortly after, but the sudden change from gentle movement to that aggressive turn is what makes this video so disturbing. It didn't feel random. It felt like whatever was in that chair noticed them noticing it. Working a night shift in the hospital is already known to be bad, but for Michael, it's a whole different story. He's a security warden, used to empty corridors and long hours, but this night felt wrong from the start. He'd been alerted to a disturbance somewhere in the building and decided to investigate alone, filming as he walked through the dimly lit hallway. The atmosphere feels heavy, almost tense, and the further he goes, the worse it gets. As Michael moves down the corridor, a high ringing sound starts to echo around him, faint at first, but growing louder with every step. By the time he reaches the bottom of the hall, the noise becomes aggressive and chaotic, layered with other strange mechanical sounds that don't seem to belong. The lift doors beside him slide shut on their own. Seconds later, a piece of hospital equipment nearby begins to move by itself, slowly at first, then more deliberately, rolling and shifting with no one touching it. Michael backs away, breathing heavily, trying to keep the camera steady as the noises continue around him. After reviewing the footage later, he said nothing in the area could explain the sounds or the movement, and since that night, he's refused to patrol that section of the hospital alone. In this next piece of footage, dated June 2018, a fixed CCTV camera overlooks a quiet public park in broad daylight. Nothing looks out of the ordinary at first, until one of the swings begins moving back and forth completely on its own. There's no wind strong enough to explain it, and the other swings stay perfectly still.
会社用と個人用のスマホ2台持ってたんで、スマホを置けるような高い遊具もあったんで、そこに1台スマホを置いて撮りました。自分が動かしてるんじゃないっていう証拠になるかな。帰宅中に通りかかったんですけど、心霊現象だと思って、そうですね、ツイッターとか上げようと思いました。であの木の横に人影ががっつり映ってるじゃないですか。こんな映ることありますっていう。はい。いや、もちろんその場ではその人がいるのは気づかなかったですし、気配すら感じなかったですよね。自分が持って撮ってるスマホの方には映ってないですよね。そうですね。ツイッターはそうですね。20回ぐらいしか再生されてないんで、普通に消しました。誰も信じてくれないんですよね。
As the swing continues to move, a dark, unfamiliar man can be seen in frame and just stands there watching it, completely motionless. He doesn't touch the swing or interact with anything, he just stares as if he's waiting for something. A few moments later, another man enters the park and notices the same thing. Clearly confused, he pulls out his phone and starts recording the moving swing himself. This is where things get uncomfortable. When the smartphone footage is shown, the swing is still moving in the exact same way, but the dark figure seen on the CCTV is nowhere to be found. According to the timestamps, both recordings were happening at the same time. The CCTV clearly shows someone standing there, yet the phone camera captures nothing but empty space. After the swing finally slows to a stop, both men leave the area. The unexplained figure never reappears, and no one has been able to explain how a person could appear on one camera and not the other. For a lot of people who've seen this clip, it feels less like a glitch and more like something that was never meant to be seen in the first place. Dennis is standing beside a closed door with his colleague Deborah inside a quiet medical facility, both of them mid-conversation, when a sudden loud bang erupts from the other side. Instinctively, he lifts the camera.
Coisa que acontece no meu plantão.
Você vai tirar foto minha aqui, viu?
Não tem. Oi. Olha aí, olha aí. Não, sabe, deixa eu ver se tem alguém aqui dentro. Tá vendo? Não tem ninguém aqui dentro. Rapaz, minha mão benze aqui.
The noise echoes down the corridor, sharp and metallic, like something heavy hitting porcelain. Dennis and Deborah exchange a look before slowly opening the door together, half expecting someone to be inside. Instead, the room is completely empty, containing only a toilet and a sink, both untouched and perfectly still. Dennis pans the camera around to show there's nowhere anyone could be hiding, no other exits, no movement at all. The sound had come from inside that room, yet whatever caused it was already gone, leaving behind a space that looks entirely normal and an atmosphere that suddenly feels anything but. The following day, Dennis returns to the same facility, clearly still unsettled by what happened. Wanting to rule out any doubts, he starts recording before anything occurs.
Coisas que acontecem no meu plantão, parte 2. Tem ninguém aqui dentro, ninguém. Vou fechar aqui, deixar escoradinho aqui, ó. Tenha calma, você fecha já. Ó, sozinho. Ó, não tem ninguém aqui, ó. Rapaz. É incrível. Olha, ó. Maçaneta mexendo. Fecha aí, olha. Fecha a porta, vai. Fecha. Fecha. Tá vendo? Tem ninguém perto da porta, ninguém. Ó. Olha a maçaneta, ó. Olha. Ai, ai.
He opens the same door again and slowly films inside the room, showing the toilet, the sink, and every corner to prove there's no one hiding and nothing out of place. Satisfied, he steps back into the hallway and gently pushes the door closed, deliberately leaving it slightly ajar. He stands there in silence, watching. After a few seconds, without any warning, the door begins to move on its own. It slowly pulls shut until it closes completely, clicking into place as if someone had finished the job. Dennis reacts instantly, backing away in disbelief. Afterwards, he entered to confirm there was no airflow, no movement nearby, no explanation. After capturing that, Dennis said he no longer doubts something strange is tied to that room, especially since it seemed to wait for him to come back before making itself known again. We're looking at very old footage recorded in a quiet garden, the kind of place that normally wouldn't raise any alarms at all. The camera quality is poor and slightly washed out, but that almost makes what happens harder to ignore and even more terrifying.
Look at that orb up in the tree. No. Wow, did you see that flashing?
From the left side of the frame, faint transparent figures begin to appear one by one, slowly drifting across the garden as if they're walking with purpose. Each shape looks vaguely human, tall and upright, but you can see straight through them. As they move toward the right side of the frame, they gradually fade away, disappearing completely before reaching the edge. What makes this even stranger is the background. If you look closely toward the wooded area behind the garden, more human-shaped figures can be seen standing among the trees, barely moving, just watching. They don't cross like the others. They just linger in place, half hidden by branches and darkness. The person filming doesn't react at all, possibly because they didn't notice it at the time. It was only years later, when the footage was reviewed frame by frame, that people realized how many figures were actually there. Whether this was some kind of visual artifact or something far harder to explain, the sheer number of shapes makes this clip deeply unsettling, especially knowing it was filmed long before editing tricks were common. On July 28th, this footage was captured by a couple who had already been dealing with unexplained activity in their home for a long time. Even then, the man behind the camera was still skeptical, brushing most of it off as old house noises or nerves playing tricks. That night, he follows his girlfriend down into the basement, filming mostly to reassure her and prove nothing strange would happen.
Can't believe you have me recording this. What do I know?
You don't know. What if something happens and we don't have any explanation for it? Like I said last time, I'm gonna record everything. You don't record it, you don't.
You need to explain that?
That's why I'm tired.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the 50th freaking night in a row. Something's happened.
I think you're exaggerating. Look, it's a basement. Yeah. What the fuck is that? Yeah, that happens. What the
Okay, we need to go. Go.
Oh, where?
Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Gee, go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. Go upstairs.
Fuck, let's go.
Go upstairs.
At first, the basement looks completely ordinary, cluttered with storage and barely lit, but the mood changes fast. Loud shattering sounds suddenly echo through the room, sharp and violent, as if objects are being thrown or smashed just out of view. The camera never catches what made the noise, but seconds later, several items on the floor begin sliding across the concrete by themselves, moving in straight, deliberate lines, with no visible force behind them. The couple freezes, whispering in disbelief as the objects continue to shift before finally coming to a stop once they are already long gone. Whatever caused the crashing sounds remains unseen, but the movement on camera was enough to change his mind completely. After this night, he admitted the basement was no longer just creepy, and the couple said this was the moment they stopped questioning whether their house was actually haunted. In the following video, the man behind the camera keeps moving through what looks like a storage area, the kind of tight corridor where every box and shadow feels like it has weight, and you can tell he is already on edge as he scans each corner with the camera. He stops when he notices a door that should never be opened during the investigation, sitting cracked just enough to make the hallway feel wrong, and he slowly leans in to look behind it, even though the team is nowhere nearby.
La puerta se abre y se cierra sola.
Se está abriendo esa puerta. No hay nadie. Y por acá también se escucha ruido.
He finds the door opening a crack, so opens it and checks behind it just to see nothing. Because of this, he walks away and the door shuts by itself as a strange noise starts playing behind it, and he speed walks out of the hallway. The second that door slams, you can see his whole body tense, because that wasn't wind, and it definitely wasn't timing or coincidence. And the noise that follows sounds like something trying to push through the wall just to remind him he is not supposed to be there. His footsteps turn into a full speed walk that almost looks like he wants to run, but refuses to make noise, and every few seconds he glances back like he expects the door to open again. Moments like that show exactly why investigators always say curiosity is one thing, but when the building answers you on its own, that is when you learn how fast fear can move. It was late enough that the local markets should have felt peaceful, but every shutter was pulled down tight and the whole place looked abandoned, except for May cutting through the empty rows. She knew the place was closed and shouldn't have held any noise at all, which is why the first faint scream stopped her in her tracks, sounding like someone crying out in pain from deep inside the metal-covered stalls. She followed it slowly, each step making the sound grow sharper and more desperate, until it felt like it was right beside her, but no matter where she turned, there was never anyone there.
Imagínate andar por la central de abastos y oír esto.
The screaming and crying keep getting louder as she walks, yet she can't find the source even when it sounds feet away. By the time she reached the end of the walkway, the noise was so overwhelming it felt like it was coming from the walls, and she spun around expecting someone to stumble out, but the shutters were sealed tight like they hadn't moved in hours. That was the moment she realized she wasn't chasing a person at all, and the way the sound cut off instantly once she stopped filming, almost like it knew she understood, made the silence after feel even worse. May had walked straight into something trying to be heard, and the fact that it never showed itself only made it clearer that she had been listening to a ghost. It happened late in the evening when the house was already settling into that quiet that makes every shadow seem a little thicker, and Charlie kept tugging at his dad's sleeve, saying there was a scary boy standing across the room staring at him. His dad brushed it off at first, calling it pretend, but Charlie wasn't smiling or joking. He just kept insisting the boy was real and he didn't want to be near him. Eventually, the dad told him to show where this scary boy was, so Charlie nervously walked with him through the hall and stopped at a doorway, pointing inside with his hand shaking like he expected something to move.
What are you saying, Charlie? There's a scary boy where? What do you mean? What, are you doing pretend? Yeah, you're just playing pretend, aren't you? Do you want to show me? Show me then. Come on. You show me where he is. Where? Where? In there? In there? Okay, get ready, Charlie. No, scary boy. No, there's nothing there, mate. Do you want me to go in? Look, there's absolutely nothing in here. You've got nothing to be scared about. I've absolutely shit myself. There's nothing to be scared about. There's nothing here. That's just the bathroom. Nothing there, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the shower. Never been more scared in my entire life. Oh. See, told you, nothing there, mate. Perfect. Come on, let me see Lee.
The father opens the door and sees nothing, while Charlie refuses to step past the threshold. The moment the door swings open to an empty room, the dad turns back confused, but Charlie steps back like he's afraid something invisible is right in front of him, claiming that the scary boy is still there, even if his dad can't see him. That kind of fear doesn't come from pretending, and the way Charlie wouldn't even look into the room made the dad realize this wasn't just a kid's imagination. It was something he couldn't explain, and something Charlie clearly wished he hadn't noticed at all. It was supposed to be a quiet night in Braden's room, but the ceiling kept creaking with slow, heavy footsteps, even though nobody was home, and there shouldn't have been anything moving above him at all. He sat still for a second, trying to convince himself it was the house settling, but the steps were too steady, too human, so he grabbed his flashlight and started walking through the dark halls with that kind of nervous focus where every sound feels closer than it should.
Wow, it's really bad right now. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, hold up. Why is the tree on there? Whatever that is coming from up here. Should I attempt to go in there? Because that was coming, all that thumping, it was coming from like right in there, in that room. Oh. What the?
He points his flashlight upstairs and hears his own exact voice say, "Come up for a sec." The way the voice coming down the stairs matched his tone perfectly meant he froze, because there was no way his own voice should be calling him from a place where nobody was standing. It wasn't an echo, and it wasn't a trick of the house. It sounded like something pretending to be him just to get his attention. He didn't step closer. He didn't even breathe for a moment, because when something upstairs can mimic you perfectly, the last thing you want to do is give it the chance to talk again. The following video was captured amidst a normal slow night at the sneaker shop. The kind where the worker is just sweeping the floor and straightening boxes while the CCTV quietly records every corner of the room. Nothing feels off until the air suddenly shifts a little, just enough to make him pause, and the camera catches him glancing toward the back like he sensed something move. As he keeps cleaning, the door to the back of the shop slams shut on its own, even though nothing is near it. He jumps and stares because there's no draft, no co-workers, no reason for it to slam with that much force, and the CCTV angle shows the room behind it is completely empty. It's the kind of movement that looks deliberate, like something wanted to make itself noticed, and the way he slowly backs away from the doorway says everything. Even in a brightly lit shop, surrounded by sneakers and shelves, that door made it clear he wasn't alone at all. The same sneaker shop is open now, customers walking around and the place feeling completely normal, like nothing strange had ever happened there. And one of the workers is helping a guy try on a new pair he picked from the wall. They're chatting casually as the customer slips the sneakers on, then he walks over toward the mirror to get a better look, while the worker follows a few steps behind, totally unaware that the cameras are still watching every corner and about to capture something crazy.
Yeah, I'm going, bro. Pharaoh, pretty cool. He's trying to take it on us. So, hell no.
As the customer stands in front of the mirror, a single sneaker from the display wall drops to the floor on its own, with no one near it, causing both of them to panic and run. The moment that sneaker hits the ground, they both whip around because it didn't slide. It didn't wobble off. It fell straight down like something knocked it loose with intention. You can see the confusion turn into fear instantly, and the worker doesn't even try to explain it before bolting toward the front door with the customer right behind him. It feels like whatever slammed the back door before was still there, waiting for another chance to be noticed, and that single falling sneaker was enough to send them both running. The shop had only been open for 12 minutes when the man working started saying something was moving around in the attic, and the walls, like the whole building, was settling wrong, and the fact that the store next door was abandoned made every sound feel way more isolated than it should. He walked around the aisles with his camera, trying to prove he wasn't imagining it, and the second he passed the back corner, he heard a hard knock hit behind the wall, like something was following him from the other side.
Okay, we have literally been open for 12 minutes. There is so much stuff happening right now that I don't even understand it. So I'm going to show you. No one's on the cameras. There is stuff coming from the attic and in the walls again. And if you look it up, the store next to us doesn't exist. They went out of business. No one's here. Hello? Hello? Did you hear the knock? Hello? Can you knock again? Oh my. What the? It's honestly a great day to be haunted. I'm just recording right from it. I don't know if the machines are so loud, but there's so much knocking coming from the attic. This is insane, like literally. Okay. I'm gonna throw up. I'm not ready for this. It is too early for this. We're not even open. Hello? Is there a reason you're so active right now? My Jesus Christ! What the fuck is that? I can't fake that. Holy cow. Okay, wait. I'm gonna try to do one continuous video proving that nobody's up here. Oh my god. Oh my god, I have goosebumps. Wow, this ain't even a TikTok. Okay. I'm just... Okay, it literally just stopped. It literally just stopped. Okay, can't show the code. Something literally flew off the wall. Bro. Spirit, is there a reason you're so upset today? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Jesus. I don't even know where to go. Okay. Holy, look at this. I'm a little actually scared right now because this is in the morning. We don't usually experience this much in the morning.
The knocks keep happening as he circles the store, most of them coming from the attic, and the place isn't even open yet, so there is no way it could be a prankster customer. He pulls down the attic ladder and loud banging erupts above him before going silent. But right as he says it stopped, more knocks explode across the ceiling and something is thrown off the wall. He shows the item on the floor through the CCTV feed. When the object hits the ground, he freezes because that wasn't just noise, it was force, and the attic ladder hanging open behind him makes it feel like something could climb down at any second. He stands there breathing hard while staring into the dark above, and the silence that follows feels like the building is waiting for him to move so it can answer again. Ian, a ghost hunter in the Midwest, entered a decaying factory that locals claimed was haunted. The air was thick with dust and the faint smell of rust, and the silence made every creak echo like a warning. He set up his equipment, hoping to communicate with whatever lingered in the shadows, and immediately something responded.
Who are you? Whoa. Sir, why do you still haunt this tannery? But you said railing. Railing. Like fell over the railing. Are you saying that you died on these catwalks? And that you fell? Whoa. It sounded like that's what happened. Jesus, this is so crazy. Thank you, sir, for communicating with me. Is there anything you would like to say? Sounded like it said work. Are you going back to work? Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get back to work then, if that's the case.
The voice was faint but clear, saying, "Lost my balance." Ian asked why it haunted the place, and the reply came simply, "Railing." Piecing it together, he assumed the spirit had fallen from the railing in life, and the ghost confirmed that's what happened. Feeling a mix of relief and awe, Ian thanked the spirit for sharing its story, then gave it one last chance to speak. The final words whispered back, "It's working," leaving Ian with the eerie sense that the factory still held secrets, and that even in death, some connections lingered longer than expected. The following clip begins with loud, repeated banging echoing through the apartment, sharp enough to jolt the person filming upright from the couch beside the bed. It sounds deliberate, like something hitting a wall or door over and over, and after a moment of hesitation, they decide to investigate.
All right, let's investigate.
Camera in hand, they move through the apartment, checking nearby rooms, the hallway, even the front door, but everything is exactly as it should be. No movement, no open doors, no explanation for the noise they just heard. The banging has completely stopped, leaving behind an uncomfortable silence that feels heavier than the sound itself. After finding nothing, they head back toward the bedroom, clearly trying to convince themselves it was just a random noise. But as soon as they step back inside, the tension returns. The room feels different now, quieter, in a way that feels intentional, almost like whatever caused the banging is waiting. After ending the video, they pause near the couch, scanning the space slowly, listening for any hint of it starting again. Nothing does, at least not on camera, but the way they hesitate before sitting back down says enough. The banging may have stopped, but the feeling that something followed them back into the room never really goes away. James had already been dealing with strange activity in his house for days, which is exactly why he had his phone ready when this moment happened. He starts recording as the door handle in front of him begins shaking violently, rattling back and forth with force that clearly isn't normal. The handle suddenly twists on its own, and the door swings fully open, revealing the room beyond it. You can hear James breathing heavily behind the camera, frozen in place as he tries to process what he's seeing. Just as quickly, the door slowly shuts itself again, clicking into place. For a brief second, everything goes quiet, almost like it's over, but then the handle moves again. The door opens a second time, wider than before slamming shut once more as if whatever was doing it was toying with him. James later explained that this wasn't an isolated incident, and that similar things had been happening regularly in that room, which is what pushed him to finally film it. Seeing the door open and close repeatedly with that kind of force, and hearing the panic in his breathing, makes it clear this wasn't staged. Whatever was on the other side of that door clearly wanted to be noticed. Late at night, two friends were standing in the hallway of a house that had already been making them uneasy when they decided to finally check the attic. Ali stood directly beneath the hatch, holding the long stick used to pull it open, while his friend filmed from a few steps back. Heavy banging could be heard coming from above, loud and deliberate, not like animals or loose pipes, but slow, forceful knocks that seemed to respond to their presence.
Escucha, hágale, pero hágale suavecito. Espere, hágale.
Ali hesitates for a moment before pushing the attic door upward with the stick. As it creaks open, the darkness above fills the frame, and then something horrifying appears. An uncanny face suddenly becomes visible in the opening, pale and unnatural, staring straight down at them from the attic. It doesn't speak or move much, but its presence alone is enough. The moment they realize what they're looking at, both of them panic. The camera jolts violently as they turn and sprint away, shouting in fear as the attic door slams shut behind them. The footage was cut shortly after, but Ali later claimed neither of them went back up there that night. No one else was supposed to be in the house, and whatever looked down at them from that attic was never seen again. After weeks of dealing with things he couldn't explain inside the house, Tanner finally decided he needed some air and a break from whatever had been going on. He stepped outside with his phone, filming casually while talking to the camera about how tense everything had been lately, saying he just wanted to clear his head. The area around him looked empty and quiet, and nothing seemed out of place at first.
Hey guys, so I decided to just get out of the house today. I think it's probably good for me to keep my mind off of things and just maybe not think about it so much. I'm starting to feel paranoid, like the only place I feel safe is at my house, and I don't really think that that's healthy, so I decided to just get out today. Thanks you guys to anyone who reached out to me. I'm doing fine, I just feel a little uneasy when I leave the house, but other than that, I'm doing good.
As Tanner continues walking and talking, the camera briefly pans past a long corridor far behind him. In that moment, barely noticeable unless you're really looking, an uncanny girl-like figure can be seen standing still in the distance, watching from the shadows. Tanner doesn't react at all and keeps walking, completely unaware that anything is there. The figure doesn't move, doesn't wave, and doesn't follow. It just stands there before slipping out of view as the camera shifts again. It wasn't until Tanner posted the video that people in the comments started pointing it out, timestamp after timestamp, all saying the same thing. Whatever that figure was, it appeared right after he left the house to escape the activity inside, making it feel like whatever had been haunting him hadn't stayed behind at all. Three friends were standing in the water together, laughing and getting ready to take an underwater selfie together, the camera already recording as they counted down and hyped each other up. It all felt normal at first, just another casual moment caught on video. As they prepare to dive in, a fourth figure suddenly appears behind them in the frame. It looks like a person standing just a few steps back, close enough that there's no way they could have slipped away unnoticed. The friends don't react at all, clearly unaware that anyone else is there. Seconds later, the three of them dive forward into the water together, splashing out of frame. But the strange part is what happens next. The fourth person never moves, never steps aside, and never exits the shot. When the camera steadies again, there's no one behind them at all. No swimmer surfacing, no footsteps, no disturbance in the water that would explain where that person went. Viewers slowed the footage down frame by frame, and there's no point where the figure can be seen leaving. It's as if they were never really there to begin with. The clip ends shortly after, but that unexplained extra person has left people convinced something impossible wandered into the shot for just a few seconds. At around 2 in the morning, just as Abdullah was about to turn off the lights and go to sleep, loud banging suddenly erupted from his apartment door, sharp enough to make him freeze in place. Confused and half asleep, he pulled out his phone and started recording to catch this.
It was around 10 a.m. I was going to turn off lights and ready to sleep, and then this happened again. So I heard my voice again after a month.
तुम्हें क्या है? तुम्हें भूख लगी या खाना खाओ, मेरे पीछे तंग मत करो। नीचे जा खाना खाओ फ्रिज में। मैंने नहीं खोलना इसे।
From the other side of the door, a voice could be heard begging to be let inside, repeating itself over and over, saying it was hungry and wanted to eat something. The tone didn't sound muffled like someone in the hallway, it sounded close, almost pressed against the door itself. Abdullah responds, firmly telling it no, that it can't come in. Almost instantly, the voice changes, becoming aggressive, and the knocking grows louder and faster, slamming against the door in bursts like whoever, or whatever, was getting angry. After a few tense seconds, the noise stops completely. Trying to prove to himself it was nothing, Abdullah opens the door and steps into the hallway, filming as he looks left and right. The corridor is completely empty, silent and still. No footsteps, no people, no sign that anyone had been there at all. He quickly retreats back inside and locks the door, later saying this was the moment he realized whatever was knocking didn't need to be seen to feel real. Just a day later, Abdullah found himself home alone again, still shaken from what happened the night before, but trying to convince himself it was a one-off. This time, The apartment door was already open as he moved around the house, and everything felt quiet enough to forget about it for a moment. That didn't last.
I was alone at home, so they started mimicking me again.
So, I heard someone is calling me, but I'm alone in my home. Like मेरे घर में कोई भी नहीं है अभी. कौन? रोहान तुम हो? क्या हुआ? हाँ? तुम नीचे आओ. तुम नीचे आ जाओ रोहान. नीचे क्यों नहीं आना? क्यों? बकवास बंद करो अपनी. कौन था? बोलो. रूम में है ना कोई? मेरी एक बार अपने जेब में. Okay, bye. I don't know what it is, but okay, bye.
From somewhere upstairs, a voice suddenly echoes down toward him, clear and deliberate, telling him to come up and get back to work. Abdullah freezes when he realizes the voice sounds exactly like his own. Before he can react, it changes again, perfectly mimicking his brother's voice instead, calling his name the same way his brother always does. The switch is instant and unsettling, like whatever it is knows them both. Abdullah shouts back, telling it to keep its mouth shut, his voice shaking more than he wants to admit. Immediately after that, everything goes silent. No footsteps, no movement, nothing at all. Trying to prove to himself it's not real, he runs upstairs with his phone still recording, checking every room along the way. Of course, there's nobody there. Later, Abdullah said the silence was worse than the voice because it felt intentional, like whatever was speaking chose to stop only after he confronted it. For anyone new here, Ian is a Midwest-based ghost hunter who's been investigating abandoned and reportedly haunted locations for years, most famously, an old factory he keeps returning to because of how consistently active it's been. He's captured unexplained footsteps, distant knocks, and objects moving in this place before, which is why this next clip matters so much.
If there's anyone up here, could you make a sound? Sound like it came from in there. Is anybody in there? Looks like an old creepy piano. Oh God. That's creepy. Hello? Ooh. That was loud. Hearing thumps and bangs all throughout this place. Oh my God. Okay, just calm down. It is a freaky atmosphere up here.
Ian is standing alone inside the factory again, filming the second floor and calmly asking if anyone is up there, requesting that whatever's present make a sound. Almost immediately, a loud bang echoes from a nearby room. Ian heads straight toward it, calling out as he goes, but when he reaches the room, it's completely empty, except for an old, dust-covered piano sitting against the wall. No signs of anyone, nowhere to hide. As he's taking it in, another knock rings out, this time closer, then another and another. Each one sounds deliberate, like a response rather than random noise. Ian keeps the camera steady, clearly unsettled now, slowly turning in place to show there's still no one around him. The factory stays silent between the knocks, making each one feel intentional, almost conversational. It's moments like this that keep pulling him back to this location, because whatever is in that factory doesn't just make noise, it answers. Within the Jefferson Hotel, reports of paranormal activity have been piling up for years, but one incident in particular pushed things into genuinely unsettling territory. A guest staying in room 117 reportedly checked out in a panic after an encounter they said happened in the bathroom late at night. According to staff, the guest had been taking a bath when the room filled with steam, and words slowly began to appear on the mirror, as if written by an unseen hand. The message read, "You should leave." Thinking it was some kind of prank or condensation trick, they wiped the mirror clean. Moments later, as the steam built up again, a new message appeared, this time far more direct, telling them to get out. The guest immediately fled the room, leaving their belongings behind, and even losing the bathroom key in the process. Hotel staff later entered the room to investigate and document what had happened.
But we took some pictures. I'll show you the pictures real quick. These pictures were a little eerie. You can see right here is the get out. And we took a series of pictures. Well, in all these pictures, there's only 2 people with the exception of this one. See right there, there's a third face. And there should only be 2 because all the pictures only showed 2 people in there. So whoever this third face is, we don't know. It was kind of weird, but we did go in there this morning to try to fog it up again, and it didn't happen. So I'm not sure, how long the prank lasts, or if it was even a prank.
They show the photographs taken that night, capturing the messages as they appeared on the fogged mirror. What stands out is how unnatural the writing looks, uneven, distorted, and nothing like handwriting formed by a finger. In one of the images, viewers later noticed something even more disturbing. Faintly visible in the reflection is what appears to be a third face, semi-transparent, and not belonging to anyone who was supposed to be in the room at the time. Staff attempted to recreate the conditions by fogging up the bathroom again, and once more, the same message appeared on the glass without anyone touching it. After that, room 117 was quietly taken out of rotation for a period of time, and the hotel has never offered a clear explanation for what was captured there. In the following video, Ragalzu was working a night shift when the building was completely empty, and after hearing strange noises echoing through the halls, he decided to start filming to protect himself more than anything else. The place was dark, quiet, and lit only by his phone and a small flashlight, which made every sound feel amplified.
Mira, ahí pasó. Dígame que lo vieron. Se lo vio clarito. Mira, ahí pasó. Mira. Se lo vio clarito. Y pasó por el medio del patio. ¿Qué les dije? Mira. Negrito para acá fue. Para ahí. ¿Ven? Pasó por ahí, agachadito, corriendo por aquí. Se enfocó, ¿eh? Está al frente de ustedes, gente. Todas las cosas siempre más, digamos, turbias y fuertes. Me movieron un muñeco, movieron una silla, me golpeaban la campana, hacían un montón de quilombo. Y ahora cierran la puerta. Y bueno, pero yo dije que antes de irme voy a limpiar el lugar, que ninguna entidad tiene que permanecer aquí, ninguna entidad tiene que seguir en este lugar, porque van a venir niños, van a venir niños y no tienen que seguir aquí. Me atravesó otra vez. Dios mío, me dejó encerrado. Ahora sí me dejó encerrado. ¿Ahora lo hace con esta también? Es un colegio. Sí, mira. Mira, no. ¿Ves? Él la cerró. Es más, hace rato, pero sí estoy en Santiago, hace rato se vio literalmente un duende cruzar, o sea, la figura de un niño cruzando por detrás mío. Uy, escucha. Está golpeando. Ahí la abrió. Ok. Vine por acá. Me dejó de golpear. Linda la noche en la escuela, ¿eh? Ahí está volviendo la puerta. No tiene luz, pero tiene que pasar un proceso para poder trascender y ¿A dónde Mautrix, Gamin, dónde dice que se verían cosas locas? En el hospital me trabajo toda la noche. Estuve el sábado en un hospital abandonado. Y también logré captar una entidad bastante oscura. Yo esta puerta la voy a cerrar ya mejor.
As he walks forward, the camera catches what looks like movement behind a closed door ahead of him, a dark, human-shaped object, passing across it for just a second, like someone walking by on the other side. Ragalzu immediately panics and runs straight toward the door, shining his flashlight through the glass, and then outside once he opens it. There's nothing there. No footsteps, no shadows, no place for anyone to hide. The area beyond the door is completely empty, and security later confirmed no one else was on site at the time. Whatever moved past that door was there only long enough to be seen, then vanished the moment he tried to confront it. A haunted foodie YouTuber was exploring an abandoned mental asylum, expecting nothing more than a quiet, eerie location for a casual exploration video. The building had been left to rot, with peeling paint, debris scattered across the floor, and long ward corridors filled with old hospital rooms. She films herself walking through one of the messiest sections, opening doors, and looking around while talking calmly to the camera. Her husband can be seen further down the corridor at one point, also looking around, making it clear they weren't alone in the building, but still very much alone in terms of other people.
I think this is the ward, actually. Oh my god, that's really, really new looking. Oh, it does smell like a hospital jar. Yeah. Oh, yeah, look. It does actually smell like a hospital. This seems a lot newer than the rest of the building. Whoa. Toilets in here. All the sinks are broken. Yet again, like I like to say in all of my abandoned. What's that? Whoa. They like pink tiles, don't they? What's in our room? There's another room in here. Shower. I don't like looking behind shower curtains. That just creeps me right out. The bathroom again there. That's pretty cool, that is. Smells like an hospital in this part, definitely.
As she pans the camera from a blank wall back toward the corridor, something unsettling happens without her noticing. At the far end of the hallway, a tall, dark figure is briefly visible standing near a doorway. Within a split second, it appears to react to the camera and slips behind the door, completely vanishing from view. The movement is quick but unmistakable when slowed down. She continues filming, unaware anything happened, and only realizes later when reviewing the footage. After spotting it, she shared the clip online, admitting that she had no explanation for who or what that figure could have been, especially since no one else was supposed to be anywhere near that part of the asylum. After watching this next clip, you'll definitely want a dash cam on your car. The footage comes from a vehicle driving along a highway, with the road ahead completely clear at first. It's late, visibility isn't great, and everything feels normal until something suddenly appears directly in the lane.
There it goes. Just record.
A small, transparent figure that looks disturbingly like a child is standing in the middle of the road. The driver slows down instinctively, clearly panicking, but there's nowhere to swerve in time. The car passes straight through where the figure is standing, yet there's no impact, no sound, nothing in the mirrors afterward. The road behind them is empty. When the footage is slowed down, the figure doesn't react at all. It doesn't move, flinch, or turn its head. It just stays there as the car goes through it. Many people who've seen the clip believe it's the ghost of a child tied to that stretch of highway, while others can't explain how something so clear left absolutely no trace. Either way, it's the kind of footage that makes night driving feel a lot less routine and more abnormal.